Good morning, students. In today's class, I have planned to complete two scheduling policies along with examples. Okay. So in the last class, briefly we discussed about what is preemptive scheduling policy and what is non-preemptive scheduling policy. Okay. So as we discussed, non-preemptive scheduling policies are those in which the programs are executed till their completion. Once the program is selected for execution, it is executed till its completion. Means in between, the program cannot be preempted or cannot be stopped. Okay. Such kind of policies, we call them as non-preemptive scheduling policies. So in non-preemptive scheduling policies, basically we have two policies here for your syllabus. One is first come first serve and other one is shortest request next. So first we discuss about FCFS, that is first come first serve. Okay. So in case of first come first serve, as the name itself indicates, the requests or processes, they are scheduled in the same order as they arrive in the system. Means the operating system is going to maintain the time for arrival of each process. Based on this arrival time, it is going to select the process for execution. Okay. The programs, processes or requests, they are scheduled in the same order as they arrive into the system. Okay. And to implement this first come first serve policy, the operating system is going to employ a data structure called queue. Remember, when a new process is created, that new process is always added at the end of the queue, right? At the beginning of the queue, you will be having first process. At the end of the queue, you will be having last process. So this scheduler always it selects first process from the queue. While executing the processes, the first process which is at the beginning of the queue is chosen for execution in case of first come first serve policy. Okay, if you look at the first come first serve policy, one of the problem is the shortest request. That is, the programs of small size, they suffer from high turnaround time. Means they require more time to complete their execution. Okay, this is one of the major problem that can be observed in case of first come first serve policy. Okay, remember, in case of first come first serve policy, the requests or processes, they are scheduled in the same order as they arrive in the system, right? To implement first come first serve policy, we are going to use queue data structure, and as and when the new processes are created, they are always added at the end of the queue. And the scheduler always it is going to choose the first process from the queue for execution. The problem that can be observed in FCFS is the shortest request. That is, the programs which require less CPU time to complete their execution, they suffer from high turnaround time. They require to wait for longer time in the system. Okay. So this is about first come first serve policy, right? Okay, next we have the second policy called SRN. It stands for shortest request next. It can also be referred to as SJF in some of the textbooks. So SJF stands for shortest job first. So very simple policy, as the name itself indicates, the request which requires small amount of CPU time to complete its execution is selected first. Shortest job is chosen for execution first by the operating system. Okay. Here, if you look at the explanation, the scheduler always selects shortest of arrived request. So in the existing processes, it is going to find which process requires less CPU time to complete its execution, and that particular process is chosen for execution, right? And no doubt this policy, it is going to favor shortest processes. The shortest processes, they are favored by the policy because name itself says that it is shortest request next. However, practically it is difficult to implement because the service time or the time required for its execution cannot be predicted, right? Practically it is difficult to implement because the service time means the execution time of the requests or processes, they are unknown to priori. Means before actual execution begins, it is very difficult to predict how much time the program requires to complete its execution. That's why the author says that it is difficult to implement. And in case of SRN policy, we are going to find one more problem. If a steady stream of short processes keep on arriving into the system, it may deny the execution of long processes indefinitely. It may so happen that the short processes, they may keep on arriving into the system. Every time the policy is going to choose the shortest request. But what about long processes? Sometimes these long processes, they may not get chance to execute, or their execution might be denied for longer time or indefinitely. Okay, this particular situation or this phenomena, we call it as starvation. Okay, what is starvation? A steady stream of short processes arriving in the system may deny the execution of long processes indefinitely. So it will build a queue of long processes waiting for CPU, right? They may not get chance to execute. This particular problem, we call it as starvation. Okay, students, this is about shortest request next. Okay, now what we are going to do is, we are going to solve some of the problems based on these two policies. Okay, so before that, I'm going to share another screen. First, I'm going to stop sharing of this screen. Please wait for a moment. Okay. Students, please wait for a minute. Okay, I'm going to present one more screen for solving the problem. Okay, whether the screen is visible?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Right. Okay. Okay, here we have the problem. In the exam, they may give problem like this. So they will give you a set of processes. So this is the problem we have. He has given processes P1, P2, P3, P4 and P5, and also he has given the arrival time for each and every process. Then he has given service time. Okay, the problem can be asked like this. For below given set of processes, compute the turnaround time and weighted turnaround time. They will ask you to calculate mean turnaround time and mean weighted turnaround time. Mean means you have to calculate the average values. Okay. So before that, I will repeat the notations once again. Try to recall. In the last class, we have discussed what is XI. Can you tell me? XI means service time. So actually, service time means it is execution time. If you look at this table, service time for P1, how much it is? 3, right? 3 units are required to complete execution of P1 once P1 gets CPU, right? Similarly, for P2, what is the service time? Can you tell me? It is again 3 units. For P3, it is 2 units. For P4, it is 5 units. And for P5, the service time is 3 units, right? Then what is AI? Can you remember? AI stands for arrival time of ith process, right? Okay, here in the problem, he has given arrival time for each and every process, right? For P1, what is the arrival time? 0. Means the moment when you start the system, that time P1 is submitted, right? But what about P2? The P2 arrival time is 2. It means that at time equal to 2, the process P2 is submitted for execution. Similarly, P3, the process P3 is submitted at time equal to 3. Then P4, it is submitted at time equal to 5. And process P5, it is submitted at time equal to 9. Okay. So arrival time we indicate by using symbol AI, right? AI means arrival time of ith process. Okay, what is CI? Have you remembered? CI stands for CI. It is completion time. Okay, completion time of ith process, we call it as CI. Okay, what is turnaround time? Anybody?
It is the ratio of difference between completion time and arrival time.
Okay, so turnaround time, it is time since submission of the process to its completion. Okay, and it is denoted by using symbol TA. Remember, TA means turnaround time. How to calculate it? It is CI minus AI. The next W stands for weighted turnaround time. So weighted turnaround time, it is calculated as the ratio of turnaround time to execution time. Remember, the service time itself, we call it as execution time or XI. Okay, so that the weighted turnaround time is this turnaround time divided by service time XI. Okay, so you have to remember these notations to solve the problem. Okay. Now the task is, he has given set of processes, say P1, P2, P3, P4, P5. You are supposed to calculate the mean turnaround time and mean weighted turnaround time. Okay, let us see how to solve the problem. Okay, so to solve the problem, you have to prepare the table like this. Okay, first, always you have to use first column as time. This we call it as time axis. Okay. Always time we start from 0, and here we write the data for completed processes. Okay, the second column, it is for completed processes. So here ID means the process ID, means P1, P2, P3, P4, P5. They are nothing but ID of each and every process. Then here we calculate the turnaround time for the completed process, right? TA equal to CI minus AI. Then in this column, we calculate the weighted turnaround time W, which is computed as TA divided by XI. What is XI here? XI is service time, right? AI is arrival time, TI is completion time. Okay. Then here in this column, we note down the processes in the system. So at this given time, at particular moment of time, how many processes, how many programs are available in the system, that we note down in this particular column, right? Then after that, here we write in the last column, we write process scheduled. It means the process which is chosen for execution. That process number or process ID we are going to write in the last column. Let us see how to solve this particular problem. Okay, so first always we start with time equal to 0, right? We start with time equal to 0. So at time equal to 0, do you think any of the process will complete? No. Here in these three columns, we are writing data for the process which has completed its execution, right? We have just switched on the system, that is at time equal to 0, we can say that there will be none of the process in completion state, right? So that's why we write simply dash, or we can leave those columns as empty, right? So we cannot write anything here. Okay, none of the process is there for completion, right? So that simply we can leave these columns blank, or even you can put dash here. Okay. Then now at time equal to 0, try to understand, at time equal to 0, in this column, you have to write processes in the system. Now you look at the table in the given problem at time equal to 0. Do you find any process submitted at time equal to 0? Yes? Yes, we have process P1, right? What is the arrival time of process P1? It is 0. So here in this column, I am going to write process P1 as the process in the system. Students, please try to understand. We are at time equal to 0. At time equal to 0, we won't get any data for completed process. Now, here in this column, I'm going to write the processes which are available in the system in the flower brackets, right? Right now at time equal to 0, only P1 process is there. Now, as we are solving for first come first serve policy, you have to choose the first process which is available in the system. In the system, how many processes we have at this time? We have only process P1. So we have to write process P1 as scheduled. What is the meaning of this? At time equal to 0, we have chosen process P1 for execution. So once you choose process P1, how much time it requires? Tell me. The service time for P1 is 3 units, right? The execution time for process P1 is 3 units. It has started at time equal to 0. So when it is going to complete, can you tell? It has started at time equal to 0. It requires 3 units of service time, process P1. So I can say that it will complete at time equal to 3, right? Now on the time axis, I have written 3 because P1, it has started at time equal to 0. It requires 3 units of time. So at time equal to 3, I can say that the process P1 has completed its execution. So now here we have to write the data for completed processes. So now what is the idea of the process that has completed? That is P1. I can write that process P1 has completed its execution. Okay, now can you tell me what is the turnaround time for process P1? TA equal to CI minus AI for process P1. When it has completed at time equal to 3. What is the arrival time of process P1? It is 0. So that the turnaround time for process 1 is 3 minus 0. Are you understanding, students? Process P1, it has completed its execution time equal to 3, so that its turnaround time can be calculated as CI minus AI, that is completion time minus arrival time, right? So that now what should be the value here? I have to write 3, right? Then next, for same process P1, you have to calculate the weighted turnaround time. So weighted turnaround time is turnaround time divided by execution time. Turnaround time for P1 we have calculated, it is 3 units, right? And the execution time for process P1 is how many units? Execution time is again service time. For P1 again it is 3 units. So that weighted turnaround time is turnaround time 3 divided by execution time of process P1 is again 3 units. 3 divided by 3, we get 1, right? Now, at this moment of time, that is by time equal to 3, can you think how many processes will be there in the system? Please try to understand. By time equal to 3, how many processes have arrived into the system? How to find out this is just check the table, right? By time equal to 3, how many processes are submitted? Just look at arrival time of processes. So P1 0 already submitted, P2 submitted, P3, right? By time equal to 3, 3 processes P1, P2 and P3. They are supposed to be in the system, right? But out of P1, P2, P3, already we have completed execution of P1. So therefore, now only 2 processes, P2 and P3, will be there in the system. Is it clear, students? Now we are at time equal to 3, right? By time equal to 3, we have to check how many processes are supposed to be there in the system, right? How to check is just go through this table. Arrival time has given. By time equal to 3, we are supposed to have P1, P2 and P3. But however, P1 it has completed its execution. We have calculated data for P1 already. So now by time equal to 3, we will have only 2 processes, P2 and P3, that I'm going to write in this column. Now in the last column, you have to write process scheduled. What does it mean? The process which is chosen for execution. Out of these existing processes, how many processes you have? P2 and P3. Which one we have to choose? Which has arrived first? P2 has arrived first, right? So we choose process P2 for execution, right? Please try to understand this time axis 3, it is completion for P1 and it is beginning time for P2. Try to understand this time axis 3, whatever I have written, it indicates the completion time of P1 and the starting time of P2. Now you have chosen process P2, right? So P2 requires how many units? P2 requires 3 units of time, so that it starts at time equal to 3. So when it is going to complete 3 plus 3, that is at time equal to 6, the process P2 will complete its execution. I hope you are following this, right? Now I have written time equal to 6. Why? Because P2 has begun its execution at time equal to 3 and P2 it requires 3 units of time. So 3 plus 3 we get 6, right? Now here I have to write again the data for completed process. So at time equal to 6, I can say that P2 has completed its execution, right? Now you have to calculate the turnaround time for which process? For process P2. Okay, can anyone tell what is the turnaround time for process P2?
Okay. 4.
It is again completion time of P2 minus arrival time of P2. What is the
4.
completion time of P2? 6, right? Arrival time of P2 is 2. 6 minus 2. How much we get? How much we get? 4. Is this clear? For P2, I'll tell you once again how to calculate the turnaround time. This value indicates completion time of P2, that is CI. AI means arrival time of P2 you have to calculate, which is given in the table itself, that is 2, right? So 6 minus 2, we get 4. Okay, what about this weighted turnaround time? It is turnaround time divided by execution time of process P2. XI means service time. Can anyone tell what will be the result?
Four by 3.
It is 4 by 3, right? So I can write 1.33. Is it right? 4 by 3 means it is 1.33, right? Okay, now by time equal to 6, you have to find out which processes are available in the system. Can you tell how many processes will be there? Or by time equal to 6? Okay, just look at again arrival time of these given processes. By time equal to 5, this P5 will arrive at 9, right? By time equal to 6, the possibility is P1, P2, P3 and P4. But however, P1 and P2 have completed their execution. So here I have to write which processes? I have to write only P3 and P4. Yes, P3 and P4. Now here in the last column, you have to write the process which is chosen for execution. Okay, out of P3 and P4, which we are supposed to choose? We have to choose P3, right? Because the arrival time of P3 is 3, arrival time of P4 is 5. It is first come first serve policy. That's why we choose process P3, right? Then the meaning is that at time equal to 6, P2 has completed its execution, and at time equal to 6, the process P3 has started its execution. Now you just check how much time P3 requires to complete its execution. How much time it needs? Tell me, P3. What is the service time of P3? It is how much? It is 2 units, right? 2 means P3, it has started at 6. When it is going to complete, what should be the next value on the time axis?
8.
It should be 8, right? At time equal to 8, which process will complete its execution? That is
P3.
will complete its execution. Now you calculate the turnaround time for process P3, right? Okay, what is the turnaround time? It is
6.
completion time
5.
8 minus arrival time of P3. Completion time of P3 is how much? 8. Arrival
Sir.
time of P3 is how much? 3. 8 minus 3, we get how much? We get 5. The next column, you have to calculate weighted turnaround time. Okay, what is weighted turnaround time? It is turnaround time divided by execution time. How much it is?
2.5.
It is 2.5 because turnaround time for P3 is 5. Then service time of P3 is how much it is? 2. 5 divided by 2 we get, which is nothing but 2.5. Okay, now by time equal to 8, how many processes will be there in the system? Can anybody tell?
P4, P5.
What about P5? Whether P5 will be there?
No, sir.
No, because the arrival time of P5 is how much? 9. P5 will come at time equal to 9. Right now, we want to consider processes which are there at time equal to 8, right? So by time equal to 8, again, the possibility is P1, P2, P3, P4 only, right? But out of P1, P2, P3, P4, already P1, P2, P3, they have completed their execution. That's why I have to write only process P4, right? I have to write only P4 in the system. Then as you have only one process P4 right now in the system, no doubt you have to choose P4 for execution, right? So here in the column process scheduled, I have to write P4. Okay. What about next value on the time axis? The meaning is that
13.
yes, it should be 13 because P4 has started at time equal to 8. It requires how much time? The service time of P4 is 5. If it starts at time equal to 8, it will complete at 8 plus 5, that is 13. Here, what is the process ID completed? P4. And turnaround time for P4 is 13 minus arrival time, 13 minus 5, that is we get 8. Then next weighted turnaround time, it is 8 divided by how much?
5.
8 divided by 5. Okay, what is the value? Can anyone tell? 8 by 5, how much we get? 1.6 we get. Okay. Now, here we are supposed to write processes in the system by time equal to 13. Means within time equal to 13, what is the possibility of having processes? All the processes, P1, P2, P3, P4, P5. But however, P1, P2, P3, P4, they have completed their execution. That's why here I have to write only process P5 as the process in the system. Okay. Now here, what should be the value? Process scheduled. which process we have to choose? Only
P5.
P5 is
P5.
there. We have to choose the process P5 for execution, right? Then what should be the next value here?
P5.
Okay, time on the time axis, what should be the next value?
16.
It should be 16, right? Because the process P5, it has started at time equal to 13. So process P5, it requires how many units? 3 units. So 13 plus 3, it is 16. So by time equal to 16, I can say that P5 has completed. Now you calculate the turnaround time for P5. How much it is?
7.
7.
Sir.
It is 7
11.
because completion time of P5 is 16. Arrival time of process P5 is 9.
9.
16 minus 9, it is how much? 7 we get,
7.
right? Okay. Next, weighted turnaround time.
2.33
It is 7 divided by 3. How much it is?
divided by 3.
Yes,
2.3.
7 by 3. It is 2 point. How much we get? 2.33.
3.
It is 2.33, right? The weighted turnaround time for process P5 is 7 divided by 3. It is how much? It is 2.33. Okay, time equal to 16. And now any process is there in the system? No. And we can't schedule any of the process. So that here I can put simply dash, or I can leave it blank. Right now, what we did is, we have calculated the turnaround time for all the 5 processes P1, P2, P3, P4 and P5. And also we have calculated the weighted turnaround time for all the 5 processes in this column. Then what is the task he has given? We have to calculate mean turnaround time. Mean turnaround time means you have to find the average of these 5 values. Then mean turnaround time means we have to find the average of these 5 values. Okay, now can anyone tell what is the sum we get? We have to add which values? 3, 4, 5, 8, 7. What is the total turnaround time?
7. 27.
27. 27, right? 3 plus 4, 7. 7 plus 5, 12. 12 plus 8, 20. Plus 7 is 27 we get, right? Similarly, what is the weighted turnaround time? Please calculate and tell me.
7.76.
7.76 approximately, right? Then next, what is the task we have to do is, we have to calculate average turnaround time and average weighted turnaround time, right? So if you calculate, how much you will get? Anyone? How to calculate now average of turnaround time? It is 27 divided by how many processes are there?
Sir, weighted around time 8.76.
This is 8 point. Okay, please.
76.
Yes, it is 8.76, right? Okay, no problem. Okay, now you calculate the average of turnaround time. How to calculate the average turnaround time? It is this total value 27 divided by 5. How much it is? We are supposed to get 5.2 seconds, right? If these units, if they are in seconds,
17.88.
yes, how much? Average turnaround time is 27 divided by number of processes. We have 5 processes, right? 27 divided by 5, it is 5.2. Remember the the average turnaround time, it is denoted as TA bar. That's why we get TA bar equal to 5.2 seconds. I think you are understanding this value 5.2 how we got, right? Then similarly you have to calculate mean weighted turnaround time. That is how much we get. How to calculate 8.76 divided by 5u. Someone will calculate the value and tell me the result. Just we'll cross check.
1.752. 752.
1.752, sir.
1.7
752, sir.
752, right? Okay, here just have the result. I'll just paste that result. Okay, so this is the result we get, right? Here I'm going to paste the result. Right? Sorry. Turnaround time, how much you got? 5.4
5.4.
seconds, right? Then average weighted turnaround time is 1.75. This is the correct answer. Have you got this answer? 27,
Yes, sir.
27 by 5u. It will be 5.4. Then 8.76 divided by 5u, we get 1.75, right? Any doubts, students?
No, sir.
Any doubts?
No, sir.
Okay, now what you do is just